you guys are kicking that many field goals. I mean, obviously, you guys are more important in the offensive scheme of things than maybe some games. Is that it's the job, and I know it's what you guys are trying to do. Do you get frustrated as a special teams coordinator when you're having to kick that many field goals?
No, don't get frustrated. I didn't realize how many it was. I mean, you're just kind of waiting for whatever the situation calls for: punt, kickoff, field goal block, whatever those things are. And we converted most of them, but there's no frustration. Just whatever the time calls for, go out and perform.
Is there frustration when you miss indoor field goals?
No, I mean, not any more than outdoor or long or short, or it's just make or miss,
Is there anything different that you're seeing with Chad these past 2 weeks to have those misses?
No, nothing in particular. I know that he told me he didn't feel like he hit it quite as clean, but there's consistency in terms of like what he was, how he kicked in Seattle. There's consistency how he kicked this past week. So there's some things we'll work on in practice.
Consistency in how he kicked.
Like the ball flight was similar. Whether it was right to left or left to right, or how all of the kicks were similar. The one went outside, but there's some things we can help this week in practice.
We talked about this before with field goal kickers, and I'm sure in a lot of ways you're breaking down each kick individually to see what was good and what was bad, just like every other play. Big picture, is it kind of crazy that like people are expecting every single field goal to go through? Like as a coach, do you kind of understand that there's going to be misses because nobody's perfect, or is it again you're looking at every single one, and if it misses, we got to fix whatever needs to be fixed?
Well, I would just say the general expectation, league-wide, fans, players, coaches, is you're surprised when a ball doesn't go through, whether it's your team or somebody else's team, because the guys are so good, the operations are so good. But there's a defense out there, and there's human error with things, and there's a lot of things that got to go right, not just the kick that turns into points. So, I think when you have good results for a long time, you get spoiled, but you're always trying to be the best you can for the next kick, and that's always the goal.
I don't know how much we've looked at it. You talk about having results for a long time. Just curious to what's happening with Tucker in Baltimore. It's almost like just stunning what's happened with him this season.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I've seen some of the things written, but I haven't watched anything like regarding technique or whatever. He's obviously been the best there is for a while.
For you as a special teams coach, is there anything unique about facing a team twice in 3 weeks? Do you have to change anything about your procedure?
Sure. The process itself is the same, but you have a little more information in that what their original ideas were against you, what your original ideas were against them, and you kind of see how things played out. Maybe there's something on tape that you feel like, oh, okay, then maybe this is an adjustment, but there's familiarity, and I always feel like I watch so much tape by the end of the week that like I know all of the guys on the other team, and certainly when you play a team twice in 3 weeks, as soon as we're already at that point, on Tuesday where you're usually at the end of the week. So the game's going to be different. Who's dressing, who's not dressing, so like both teams have changed and will continue to change. We'll see what the injury stuff says because they've had some moving parts here in the last week or so. But there's familiarity for sure.
Does that almost make it a little bit easier, a little bit lighter workload?
Lighter workload, no. And the reason why, I say this to our players, I said it to them yesterday, I'll say it again. I always think you got to start from ground zero when you're facing an opponent, regardless if you just played them last week, 2 weeks ago, earlier this season, last year. Because I think my experience has been if you kind of assume that you know and hey, the guys will remember this from last time, you may not spend as much time on a certain thing because there is familiarity, but for me, my process remains the same. Start at zero, go back through everything, and make sure we're on top of it by the end of the week.
Did you save anything from that first game that you're gonna roll out this week?
Lots of stuff.
Is there something you can? I mean, if your playbook big enough where you can not roll out things and just save them.
Yeah, our playbook is vast. A lot of stuff. Again, I hope Fitz goes back through all the different things we did in 7 years and they practice them all.